my family have always been involved in government. My dad was a United States congressman many years ago, of course, and I don't know, I guess I feel very strongly about being involved in anything that can hopefully make the lives of all of us better. And so when the opportunity came up 4 years ago and there was a vacancy in Ward 1, I decided that I would run for the council seat. And so I've been on the council now for 4 years. And I really would like to continue on the council, and I like it. I mean, meetings are one thing, but some of the committee assignments that I've been able to have been very interesting, regardless of whether it's personnel or property or, safety, etc. I find that I've really learned a lot, even after living in Fairfield all these years. I decided that I definitely wanted to run for the council seat once again. And, we have a lot of projects going on, and Fairfield is, in my way of thinking, an interesting, busy place.
It is. Let me ask you, you've been on the council and you'd like to stay on the council. What are, say, the 3 issues that you're probably going to have to address first, or what are the 3 most important issues you feel?
Well, I think the things that we, of course, were very involved with, finishing our water and sewer projects, which are, of course, costly and have involved a lot of, sort of turmoil, regardless of whether it's replacing water lines on a street or paving a street or doing things like that. And I think they're all very important to the community.
And it's kind of a thankless. Sewers are thankless, aren't they? I mean,
they are very thankless.
But when you do them, people don't see. I mean, it's not like you build a park or something like that. And so
it's kind of underground, and you don't know about it until it doesn't function, and then you do know about it.
That you're tearing up streets, and that makes people mad. I mean, the sewer project.
There's been a lot of frustration. I know there has, and unfortunately, because of the summer weather, we really ran into many, periods of nothing being able to happen, because when the contractor would say we have to have 6 dry days, well, 6 dry days during June and July were somewhat not there. And but I think our projects are really needed. Unfortunately, Fairfield is an old community, and when they initially put some of those services in, they thought they'd last forever, but the forever is not happening. So that's one of the problems.
Never quite as long as we think it is.
That's one of the problems that we definitely, and I think we're always concerned about our, so-called economic development within the community, and that I think, because of hoping to attract and bring some new businesses into the community, that presents the next problem in terms of housing, because Fairfield definitely needs additional housing to be made available. And the problem is we have houses that are, I shouldn't say expensive, but expensive for our community, and a new young family moving in can't afford and doesn't want that kind of a house. They still need a home for perhaps 1 child or maybe 2 children that's affordable. And so we have smaller, older homes, or we have larger, big homes, but we need that middle, affordable housing to, come about.
And that's one of the things we're going to talk about, so we might as well talk about it right now. What do you do to encourage those homes being built? That ties into if you don't have places for people to live, it doesn't matter if you have jobs or not.
That's right, because, people, it's ironic because, our children both live on the West Coast, and of course, for them, driving, in heavy traffic for an hour or something is nothing. But, people in the Midwest are somewhat spoiled because they'd like to be able to get to work in a very short period of time. And it is hard, it's very difficult, and hopefully, we continue to look for people who are wanting to, build and looking for a place to locate, for instance, a development. And so we try to work with them in terms of making an area or some land available to them at an affordable price, whereby they could do a development and thus, provide those homes that we desperately need. And it's very difficult in Fairfield because we have some of those homes that, have been and are preserved, but in the same token, for a young family to move into those, it's just not feasible. It
don't have
really
the time
isn't.
or the money.
It doesn't work. I mean,
Obviously, one of the issues over in Fairfield the last 6 months has been the bond issue, or the bond reduction, rating reduction. That strikes me as not something you want to happen, but it does scream like disaster when maybe it's not quite the disaster that it might sound, but still something that needs to be addressed. So
That's right.
How do you address that going forward?
That's exactly right. You know, and we're certainly keenly aware of it. I mean, it has been difficult because in order to do some of these projects, you know, we have had to go out and secure money. And of course, when you really, it's sort of like all the rest of us, when you would like to say you look at the bottom line, it doesn't look very good. But yet, I think we all are keenly aware of some of the things we're going to have to do in order to get ourselves kind of back on track again. And I think we're, you know, the department heads are very keenly aware of watching their budgets. And in times gone by, if there was something that perhaps they needed, a piece of equipment, et cetera, why, you know, that was something that they purchased. And not that it would put them over, but sometimes it probably did or would. And I think, all in all, I think it's going to take a concentrated effort on the part of, you know, all of us. And I say whether it's those of us who would be sitting on the council or whether the department heads and things. And we do have a wonderful, I feel, very knowledgeable new young city administrator that is a real asset to the community. And I think he has a very good idea of how to keep us from sinking. And it won't be easy. I mean, because, you know, people like to have nice things. I mean, you know, we just finished an outdoor basketball court that will be lighted. We have a new skate park. You know, we finished our outdoor pool this summer, which has been wonderful and really used and appreciated. We're working to finish our rec center, but all of those things are dollars. And, you know, as I say, trying to kind of say, okay, we'd like to do this, but, you know, right now we can't. And sometimes people aren't real happy because they don't want to pay. I mean, we all want more. I mean, that's human nature.
Right.
But when you say, I'm sorry, you're going to have to drive over those bumps for another year. And that doesn't really please your people. You know, it's been really some challenging times, and there will be some more. I mean, it's not the end of the line, unfortunately. But I do think that we have every means, and we're not the only city in the state of Iowa that is struggling financially, frankly. I mean, everybody wants to sort of point the finger and say, oh, how horrible, how horrible. But there's a lot of other problems in other cities, too.
Okay, one way to alleviate budget problems, of course, is attracting more businesses. That attracts more people. From an economic development standpoint, what would you like to see done, say, over the next 4 years?
Well, I think, you know, I really feel optimistic that, you know, we are in the process and have been, you know, attracting some small entrepreneurial type of you know, companies that are interested in getting into communities. And of course, it is a problem because then once again, we go back in terms of employees and their need of employees. And so it all kind of just meshes in a big, you know, pot. That, I mean, you bring in a new industry or a new entrepreneur and he says, I need 10 employees. And it's like, okay, where will those 10 employees just pop up from? Right. And the 10 employees say, we'd like to work for that company, but where are we going to live? So, you know, it's sort of like a round circle, and they all have to keep kind of working and feeding off of each other. And I think we're in the process of working on it, but it's ongoing and will be ongoing.
Now, campaign time, everybody always talking about all the things that are wrong and need to be changed, and, you know, the campaigns tend to focus on the negative. But certainly there's plenty to be positive about Fairfield, so if you'd like to talk about a couple of things that you see as real assets to Fairfield.
Well, I think, you know, people love coming to Fairfield, I feel. I mean, they really enjoy it because we have, I mean, we're very fortunate to have the Civic Center, the Sondheim Center, which, I mean, Rustin Lippincott has done an incredible job of bringing in amazing opportunities for Fairfield.
Rustin is high energy, if nothing
He
else.
is extremely high energy. We're very, very fortunate to have him. And, you know, he's done a marvelous job. And that in itself, I think, is a real draw. So people enjoy coming, and, you know, we're constantly, you know, working on, you know, just streetscape projects in terms of, you know, bringing things in kind of, we are concerned right now because we're struggling with lighting a little bit.
Right.
That we definitely have to either get larger bulbs or something. No, but as I say, you know, some things like that. But because of the arts, we really have very, very, a very aesthetic opportunity for lots of people who are enjoying and like to come our art walk on Friday night with things. The restaurants that we have to offer, you know, whether it's, you know, any one of them, it's a variety of food opportunities.
A real variety. It's fairly unusual. I mean,
It is very unique. I mean, where else and would you have that opportunity in, again, a community of our size? To me, I'm really always very happy when I travel around and someone will say, "Where are you from?" And I say, "I'm from Fairfield." Really?
And they
You know,
Fairfield.
really. And so I think that's kind of rewarding to feel that you can feel good about where you live.
Excellent. Anything else you'd like to say? Did I cover? Okay, excellent.
I really, as I say, not particularly. I've really enjoyed the opportunity to be on the council. And I mean, it's not like saying, oh, it's something that if I weren't on the council, I wouldn't probably change my lifestyle greatly.
Right.
Because I've always been, as I say, a part of the community. I mean, I'm, you know, involved in the Presbyterian Church, and I'm a deacon there. And so, as I say, I don't know, just living and contributing to the community is really important to me.